You're tuned into a Brownswood session, a special session that we are broadcasting during We Out Here's online music festival. I'm Ruby Savage. Some might have caught me DJing last year in a field somewhere at the festival. Hope you enjoyed it. But I'm also have a day job at Brownswood Recordings, and I am their head of product and creative, and yeah, I guess their in-house art director. However, I don't do everything on my own. I have a whole team of people that I work with, and so today I'm here to talk a bit about my work at Brownswood, creating artwork, and creating great artwork. And yeah, I've asked Mark James to join me. I think for me personally, I've always had a massive passion in music, but I studied visual arts, so being able to bring that all together in my day job has been like a real dream. And yeah, I was asked to share a bit about that. And Mark, I've got a feeling he's been doing loads of work for us at Brownswood, at the stage where when we have an actual visual, I come to Mark and I say, make something beautiful, make it into a product, because yeah, so you have a visual, but actually turning it into a record sleeve or a CD case is a whole design process, and that's where Mark does an incredible job. So he's here. I've got a bunch of fun questions, and I hope you have questions too. I love talking about artwork. I think it's, you know, listening to music. Because I'm a visual person, I see images, but also when I search for music, because I'm a visual person, my eye catches attention to things, and that's where the magic happens, discovering music through seeing the design first. So yeah, just want to say we are gutted that the festival is not happening, but I hope this alternative gives a little distraction. And yeah, stay tuned. So Mark, hi.
Hello there. How are you
Mark
doing?
James, the graphic designer, product designer.
Yeah,
How are you doing?
I'm good, thank you. How are you? You all right?
Yeah, I'm good. I've said my bit now.
Okay.
So now it's your turn. So yeah, so we're stuck in our homes. We have been for quite a while now. And I guess my first question is, how have you been keeping your creative brain sane during lockdown?
Yeah, I thought, I don't know. It's just, I've just been getting on with lots of projects and personal projects, and I'm putting another book together of work. And it's that's like just collecting a book of projects I've worked on from 2019 to 2020. Which has been quite a lot. It's been, I don't know, things changed in lockdown. I thought it was going to go quiet, and a couple of big projects, I was working on some big branding projects, and they got sort of put on hold because they were lined up for release, obviously, this year. And then that changed, and then it was, that only, it went on hold for a couple of weeks, and then it came back in, and it was like, no, we're going to push ahead. Let's just get on with things. So, and I find it's been a really creative time, actually, there's been less distractions, so you just sort of, I'm doing a lot more personal projects, and, still doing a lot of sleeve design, and made a couple of videos with Griff Reese, which is been sort of animated work, instead of, because we can't go out and film and get a crew together in the studio. So we've just been doing a lot of animation and things like that. So yeah, it's been good.
Have you discovered new formats and new ways during lockdown, just having to be creative?
Yeah, definitely. You know, getting involved in. I've done a lot more illustration myself, which I probably wouldn't have done. You know, I've just had that time because also working from home,
Hmm.
you haven't got that. There's not that commute and
Yeah,
going to the studio where there's other people, so there's no distractions. So I've just been getting on with things. It's been good.
yeah,
I've been writing a lot, just lots of ideas, and I got some new prints coming out, and
yeah.
I produced some T-shirts and just all those things that you sort of put to the side and go, I'll get to those tomorrow, and it's
And
always
then
tomorrow.
finally you had time to do it.
But yeah,
Excellent.
so it's been good. I don't know, you know, for a lot of people it hasn't been so good, but
Yeah,
yeah, I'm personally, it's been great.
it's
I've
been
liked
good.
it. I feels like I've been busier, but I'm also enjoying the slow life. You know,
Yes, I feel
that's
you on that one.
yeah.
So for us, you've obviously done like a whole ton of packaging design for our releases. And I was just wondering, like, do you mainly design for music, for say,
Yeah,
for artists? Is that your like specialty? And then like, what's your relationship with music like?
it's where I started. You know, it was I sort of um, I'm quite old, so I witnessed the tail end of punk. So
Yeah,
and I just all that graphic work around there, you know, Barney Bubbles, Malcolm Garrett's work, and Jamie Reed, of course, and it was just sort of the whole cut and paste ideas and those, you know, neon colors and things were just, that's where I sort of started sort of cutting up newspapers and making collages, and all I wanted to do, it just, that's all I wanted to do was music, you know.
yeah.
When I left school, there was no, that was not an option. You know, even suggesting you go to London was like, no, you're a Welsh boy, you're staying in Wales, you know.
But you got away.
Yeah, finally, yeah. But you know, it's it's just a passion, you know. I had jobs doing design work, um, but I was, you know, I just wanted to work on music. That was just an
Do you think
obsession.
there's, yeah, do you think there's like well, obviously it's a different process, but do you think there's a specific process for designing for music that's like
Um,
different to designing for other objects or packaging? Like what's,
there is something different, yeah, because I think you get, well, when an artist comes with an album, usually a title and a theme running through that music, and that inspires the visual in some way, you know. It's sort of,
absolutely.
yeah, it does inspire, you know, and you listen to the music and that's, you get something, or the lyrics, and you know, even when I'm making videos, it's, there's something that leads you, and that's what I want to, it's like visualizing for them, you know.
Yeah.
And it's almost like you're still, you know, it's, you know, impressing the artist in a way. I want them to be happy with their sleeve. That's the important thing, you know, and just be like, we love it. That's like, yes, great, you
Yeah.
know. So yeah, yeah,
It can be tough to get to that point, I think. I mean, I'm
yeah,
in the middle usually between the artist getting their vision, understanding their vision first, because I really
yeah,
think it has to be an extension of what they've put into the music. You want to see that in the
yeah,
design. But I mean, yeah, obviously there's a whole world of how that can be, you know, filled
yeah,
in. But yeah, when you hit that magic spot of like, yes, we're all on the same page, sometimes
yeah,
it can take a lot of back and forth and
yeah, of
drafts and starting over.
course.
What's your what's your how many like what's your most drafts ever for a project that just, and did you make it to
Well,
the end?
no, there's been projects where there's been like, you know, it's just hasn't worked, and it's just, so I don't know, just sometimes some things work, and it was when I was like some of the major labels, for instance, it's, you just feel like there's too many cooks, and it's like, well, the band want this, but the label and are saying they want something, it's got to be this, and it's got to, and it's just, when it's just too, I find like if there's too many people,
Yeah,
it just, it just waters it all down, and then sometimes it's just like, right, this isn't, no one's
this
going to be
isn't
happy
gonna
with it.
work.
Yeah, it's just sometimes it just doesn't. But then that's very rare.
Mm,
It's very, very rare. But
yeah,
no, I've done. I do a lot of branding work as well. So there's that, which I enjoy that as well, and coming up with those sort of concepts that if it works, it really works. And then
yeah,
because I did the Dirty Bird branding, which went off the scale, sort of viral and
yeah,
global news, which
yeah.
was you know you couldn't
Right.
you couldn't pay for that kind of exposure.
No.
So, and it was just a lucky sort of hit, but
Sometimes
a
it
pure
happens.
passion as well. When you're actually illustrating something and you know what you're doing, and you're going, right, I'm going to pass this out and go pass this off as a logo, and they're going to go for it, and hopefully people will bite, and get the in joke with it, and they did,
Yeah.
but yeah. So it's a lot of that as well. But sometimes I'll come up with, just present an idea to a band or an artist and say, this is what I think it is, and sometimes they just go, amazing, let's just do that.
Yeah. I
So that's
like to
happened.
write like that, and it's just like bam. It's very
Yeah,
much. It's like just an instant, like, yeah, it works. And then
yeah,
sometimes it is the first draft, and you're like, there it is, done.
yeah.
Um,
There's a lot
yeah,
of thought process, isn't there?
yeah,
It might have taken like a week or so, or 2 weeks to come up with that process. But then, if you're confident to present one idea, I just learned. I used to, like, when I started, I was just presenting, here's 6 ideas, and it'd be like, now I've just gone, no, this is like, this is, there's variations, but
yeah,
this is it.
yeah.
So yeah.
Interesting. So yeah, I guess in lockdown, it's very much been about finding inspiration
Hmm.
from inside the head rather than from the world. Would you say
Yeah.
that's been enhanced during lockdown, or is it something that actually
Yeah.
already?
Yeah, I'd say that. Yeah, it is definitely. I've been reading a lot more,
Yeah,
watching a lot more films instead of, which all those things sort of inspire, don't they? And so I've had a couple of jobs where I've had to sort of sit on for a little bit until the inspiration comes, because you can't force it.
no,
So yeah, you just got to, I don't know. It's been, yeah, but I don't know. I'm sort of quite active and quite a sort of imaginative brain, luckily, which just keeps
helps.
coming. it just there's always, I've got notes everywhere, and
Yeah,
ideas and things to do, and sometimes those personal works will translate into a sleeve or a video,
yeah,
and or it's the opposite, the other way around, where sometimes there's a sleeve idea that hasn't happened, but
yeah.
then that will channel into something personal.
Hmm.
So yeah.
So how, just thinking about the future, how are you adapting to like artwork moving like further and further into like digital space? And do you take that into
um
account when you design? Do you see where that's going? And
I'm I sort of, I always think of product and hard copy, and so yeah, the digital thing's quite hard. It's like, but then you're making a video, aren't you, which is digital, so it's the same, isn't it? It's not. I don't know. I always, the sort of wave of vinyl over the last few years has been fantastic, because we're getting to get creative and hard copy in
yeah,
your hand vinyl, and it's like, that's what you want. That's what I want to see anyway.
do you, yeah, do you still like start your design process in like an analog way, so maybe like painting or drawing, or is it
yeah,
more?
it's all, everything's sketches.
Yeah,
There's a lot of sketching going on, just shapes, or yeah, and just notes. Yeah, as I said, notes everywhere, post-it notes, just on a sheet of paper, start sketching, and then it starts building up with post-it notes, and you end up with this just mad mess. But yeah, they're the ideas. That's where it all comes from. Really, sketching is the first point. Yeah.
The first point to
Yeah,
continue.
definitely. Yeah, just do like sketches, and then like if you listen to the album, you're just making notes. As you know, you just sit there listening to music and lyrics that pop out or something, and you just make those notes, and yeah, that's it. It's you know.
Amazing. Did you have anything that you could show us?
I do. I've pulled out quite a bit.
Amazing. Let's do it.
Right. Okay. Here you go.
Yes, I was going to say bring Havana Cultura. Yeah.
This is. I love this sleeve. You know, I really do. I'm really one of those really proud moments where you're like, I don't know, everything about it. Just the colours are all there, and I just I don't know. It's
You know what I love about this one, and you did this effect already on Zara McFarlane's album Arise. Because we're obviously always trying to be as cost effective because it's still hard to make a buck selling a record. So I mean, I really wanted gold print, and you know, if you go into that area of printing, you might like using foil or a special ink, and it just gets really costly. And I remember you saying, oh, but I can just like, there's like a tone in that you can create within you without using special ink or printing methods that gives like the gold effect. And I think you used it on this sleeve as well. If you hold it up a bit more, because it looks like it's gold. And I thought
it's got that reflection to it as well. Yeah.
That's the kind of shit I get really excited about.
Yeah. It's just, you know, lavish. If you get to get lavish with the packaging, that's good. I'll show you one which we did with. I do a lot of work with Grifferys and the Super Furry Animals. Have done for like 20 odd years now. So I'll mention them a lot probably as we go through. But it's like, so a Russian illustrator called Uno Morales did this illustration for Griff for the Babelsberg album, and I don't know if you can see that.
That is dope.
But he supplied this landscape image, and we were sort of like, well, you know, and it was like, obviously everyone was like, well, just wrap it around the sleeve, and I was like, no, it needs to be presented in its full form. And I was like, well, you know, we're going to put it onto, so we put it onto like a 12 by 24 inch sleeve, you know, with
did you come up with that? Because I'm seeing like a sort of rainbow. What is it?
It's a sort of a what's it called? I can't think of the word. Holographic sort of paper.
Yeah, is it holographic?
Yeah, so sort of like, so it gives that, it's silver, but the light shines on it. So we actually made the sleeve 12 by 24, so it doesn't actually fit anywhere.
And I did all those ones that don't fit into your record. They don't fit into Kallax.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I always think that when creating box sets, you're like, oh, they're not going to.
But that's what we loved about it. Yeah, that idea of going, well, yeah, let's be a little bit awkward.
Yeah.
Just, you know, but it's But that was, you know, that was one of those ones where it's like, well, let's just go for it, you know, and do it on that scale, you know.
I think also sometimes a project really just fits where it becomes an object of art.
Yeah.
So like that piece, you can literally put it on a mantle, or you know, put it up there, and it's like a work of art in itself.
Yeah. That was the idea, because it's, you know, it's incredible illustration, and I was like, well, it should be that. That's how we should present it, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah.
How many of those did you make then?
I think there was 500.
Okay.
500, and they came in they have to come in a box, and it was, you know, even the shipping was awkward because nothing was standard. It was, there's a few headaches, but we got there, you know. And everyone, you know, that was with Rough Trade, but everyone was excited about it. There's going to be problems, but let's just make it happen, you know.
I mean, I think that's like the thread through working in independent music is you've got to put a lot of love in it and a lot of energy to make it happen, but it will pay off once you get those results back.
Yeah, completely. Yeah. Do you want to see some more?
Yes. I'm
Okay.
into, yeah, I can look at record sleeves all day.
Okay. This is another one I did for Griff Reese, which is the latest Pang album.
Yeah. When
Which
did I see this? Yeah.
yeah, so it's yeah, we just sort of, you know, we worked through the ideas, and we were looking at a lot of like sort of 60s, 70s Scandinavian design, and just it was all very sort of bold and these just obscure shapes and typography and things. And then for some reason it turned into this, you know, where it was just
So
sort of
creating this, did you have a lot of back and forth with the artist?
yeah, we sort of spent a day together chatting and
Yeah.
just looking through like books and like reference points, and then we came up with this obscure shapes that said Pang, because I don't know if you can see, sort of like it's P-A-N-G.
I
So
had
yeah,
not
so
seen that. Wait, hold it
yeah,
back up again. This is like deep graphic design.
yeah,
P-A-N-G. Yeah, I don't see it, but yeah,
yeah,
it's there.
yeah. Well, it is
No, but
there.
it's
Yeah,
like deeper concepts, right? That create a
yes,
visual.
yeah. So
Cool.
yeah, and it's not, and we did this nice. I don't know. I'll try and put it closer, but
I
the
saw that.
overlap there. So the idea was that it's like you're looking at the two side flaps are like a window
Hmm.
open,
Yeah.
so you're looking out. So it's, yeah, there's quite a lot of that. And then we did a nice bit of spotted
Uh,
blue vinyl.
matches my top.
Yeah, yeah. So again, that was rough trade, and it was just like, let's, you know, I don't know. They feel like that yeah, let's just go for it, you know.
Yeah.
Do, you know, there's a poster in there and everything and
Do
all
you
that
get
kind
a
of
lot,
stuff.
like after working for years with artists, do you get a lot of like, we trust you, go and do your thing?
Yeah, yeah. But then, and ultimately, like they've got to be happy as well. It's not like I'm not at the stage where it's like you will accept this.
Otherwise, okay. But
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So it's, yeah, so it's, yeah, it's one of those, isn't it? It's like
yeah,
it's always working with the eyes, but trying to sort of, sometimes you something works, and you know, like when you've got a good relationship with people, it's just everything's fun, you know. It's like, you know, I still get excited about the job,
yes,
you know. It's like still feel it, you know. And it's like when that piece of vinyl arrives, it's still like, you know, just takes me back. I'm just like,
yeah.
yes,
I designed
you know?
this.
Yeah, it's like, you
Amazing.
know,
I
I
know
just,
the
you know,
feeling. Great. Yeah.
yeah. And I do know, and I actually, I count myself really fortunate to be in a position where I get to do what I love,
Hmm.
you know, and I've managed to make a living, you know. So which is, you know, it's like, yeah, yeah, it is, you know,
So
just
for like, sorry, just before you go to the next one. So like for young designers, you know, what would you kind of give as advice for them you know, like navigating currently becoming a graphic designer, like where to start, what to focus on? What would you?
I it depends what you want. It's like a lot of people want, when they start as graphic designers, they're looking at branding or sleeves or things like that, and it's just, um advice would be just to do your thing, you know. Don't follow trends, because it's just, I find that so boring, you know. When I see young designers and, you know, they send portfolios of things, and it's just like, you, but it's just, this is just that, you know.
Yeah.
I was approached to do something like a bit of branding for someone, and they came along with this like this Pinterest sort of presentation, and it was just like, you don't need me to do this. You've
You've already
that's what you
done.
want, you know. It's just why I'm not going to go down that route as a, you know, if you're creating something, you don't want to go down, you don't just copy what everyone else is doing, do you? You know. I thought, yeah, I don't know. It's just, it depends, you know. Get an agency, start working with an agency, and, you know, I worked in Island Records for, I worked with Island Records for a long time, but I was actually in house for a few years, which was great, but it wasn't, you know, in being in-house wasn't for me,
Mm-hmm.
because you know, I want to do other things as well, as
Yeah.
not just island releases. That sounds a bit ungrateful, but not, you know, being, but it's like you're only working on their artists, so it's like I want to be more diverse and, you know, different areas really. Yeah,
Yeah,
that
totally.
makes sense.
Totally get
I
that.
don't know. Yeah.
And speaking of like diversity, because I think it's really important to have, you know, a diverse team on projects. And um, I'm not sure about the graphic design and product design world, but like any thoughts on diversity within that? Are you seeing that it's changing? Like more women doing graphic design, people of color? Is that something that you're seeing is like happening?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
'Cause yeah, it's changing a lot. Yeah, it is. It's just, you know, it's very sort of male orientated years ago, graphic design, you
Mm,
know, and now it's just, you know, there's lots of, well, it's just completely diverse now. Everyone's doing everything. And it's like, you know, obviously, like, the internet's opened everything up, hasn't it? And but you look, I think you look at design, and if it's good design, it's good design. You don't, and then you find out who that person is. So it's like, you know, it's almost like you can, it's faceless, isn't it, as well? You know, but it's like, you know, I'm sort of influenced by a lot of Japanese design, and, but, you know, you don't know who's done it, and sometimes it's not, they're not even Japanese when you
yeah.
go into it, you know. So yeah, it's completely diverse. Yeah, it is now, definitely a lot different. Yeah.
Yeah. And do you have like a team of people that you work with, or is it just all you that does?
It's mainly just me,
Yeah.
but then I will bring in some other people to do other projects. It's like for doing videos, I've got a team of people, my go-to people, you know. But yeah, it's just, it's you know, the thing is that it's like a lot of, as you get sort of a lot of creatives sort of hand a lot of work out, sort of, if, you know, if you're running a studio or whatever, you would give someone else the job of doing the typesetting
Yeah.
and things like that. But I'm still passionate about it. I'm probably still probably very anal about how the
Oh,
typography
look,
is.
you're doing it yourself.
Yeah, so I've got to do it myself. It's
Yeah.
like, because it's hard to sort of, I just enjoy what I do, you know.
Yeah.
And even those little details of the spine, you know, it's like, it's got to be right, you know. So yeah.
I mean, I think that is being anal is a very important part of being a graphic designer or
Yeah,
design and creating good design.
attention to detail, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, everything's got to be good.
Yeah. Amazing. Did you have any more work you wanted to show?
Yeah, I did. There was this is another one for you guys.
Yes, Zara.
Yeah, I just love this sleeve. I love the fact it's 10-inch as well, and it's just the, you know, it's just that the paint where I just painted the
Because you
shape
did
of
the paint,
Africa.
right, for this.
Yeah,
You,
yeah.
yeah. I
So
think
it's just literally, and I just, you know, it's all that texture within it that I love. Yeah, so that's another one, which is just, you know, I still sort of, yeah, I pull that out every now and then and go, yeah,
I
that's a
did
good
this.
one. Yeah.
Amazing.
There's obviously there's these, this as well,
Yes.
you worked on.
So this is interesting because like that's like a project. So you did Sunny set up the product design.
Yeah,
A.Kid did the original artwork. So like
yeah.
often I come to you with an original artwork
Mm.
and you turn it into the product. And I was wondering if there's like a specific process there or how you go about it. Um, do you like take inspiration from obviously from the visual, but like also
Mm.
from the project as a whole, or does it just depend on the project what you do? How do you
Well,
how do you take it from artwork to product basically?
it's, well, sometimes it's like with this Sunny Side Up, the visual is so strong. It's almost just a case of complementing it. You know, you're not trying to sort of, got to get the balance right. So, you know, it's the typography that you use and the colors you pick from the original artwork and how that ties in, you know? So it's like, it's got to feel as one package, not two separate things.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It's like, I'm trying to sort of like, you know, it's like, you know, you make sure that, you know, how you present it, and yeah, it's simply, yeah, it is. There's no sort of other way of sort of saying it. It's just complement the original artwork. You're not trying to sort of put your mark on it. Try and just, you know, complement it and make it look beautiful, you know?
Yeah.
It's still, you know, it's fantastic illustration, a fantastic sleeve, isn't it? So, you know, yeah, it's good.
Excellent. Okay.
Can I just show you one other?
Yeah, of course. Oh
So
my God.
this is,
Like
you got
lots
time.
of goodies there. Keep going.
Yeah. So this is a project we did again with Super Furry Animals, where it was they were doing a collection of BBC recordings. So we did a box set, and we got to do. So Super Furry Animals famously wore Yeti costumes in a video for Golden Retriever, and then they wore them on stage. You know, for years they'd come back out for the last song dressed in Yeti outfits and sing along and everything. So so they wanted to do a collection. The band sort of no longer performing together, so they were doing a collection. So I took the sort of Yeti sort of image, the fur. So I got all the suits in the studio, and I started photographing the fur to put on the sleeve. And this is an updated version of one of the original designs from Pete Fowler. So we gold foiled that onto the box.
That's the good stuff, the gold foil.
The gold foil, yeah. But then I made these sort of fur portraits of the band.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So that is created from one shot and then mirrored.
Yeah.
So I sort of formed the fur to make a sort of half a face, and then it was one shot and mirrored. And I did 5 portraits. So there's 5 sleeves within it. And then, because we went sort of Yeti mad, and we wanted to come up with the idea of putting Yeti DNA into the vinyl somehow. So we put I don't know if you can see
Oh
it.
my God.
We put Yeti fur into the
Wow.
vinyl.
Is the playback all right on that?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
It's
It's
in
insane.
there. That's
Yeah,
excellent.
it's one-sided. It's one-sided, but we sent, I think this was made in Australia. It had to go out to somewhere, like, who would do it. And we just sent them a load of fur from the suit. Yeah.
Yeah, I see it. Wow.
Yeah.
I've never seen that. That's actually amazing.
Yeah, and it's the vinyl is glass. It's like a glass finish.
Whoa.
Something, so it's pure, like, you know, you can see straight through it. It's beautiful. But yeah, so that was an amazingly fun project, you know.
That looks incredible.
Yeah, where it was just like, let's go for it. And again, you know, just all of us just, you know, laughing. That was the thing. I remember just like everyone just laughing at the ideas, and then, right, let's make it happen.
Excellent.
So good. Yeah. So,
and what record label did you do that with? Was that?
They released that themselves.
They did it themselves. Amazing.
Yeah, I think they did it through Pledge.
Yeah.
When Pledge was still around. I didn't really did Pledge. Actually, I think they lost a lot of money with Pledge on that.
Oh.
Yeah. Pledge went down, didn't it?
Yeah, they did. Oh, did they lose their money because of that?
Yeah, I think so. I think they lost a bit.
Oh,
yeah.
That's not good. Yeah,
No.
I mean, creating something like that can't have been cheap. That must have been an expensive record once it.
I think it retailed at 90.
Whoa! Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's.
Well, I guess you're just buying a piece of art then in that at that point.
Yeah, it's obviously. I can't remember how many were made, but it was yeah, it's for the proper collectors, the heads, isn't it? You know.
Yeah.
You know, it's we put Yeti fur in an envelope as well.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're sat in my studio, like, with a sort of just popping us in like this sort of just envelope, stamp, insert fur. And,
yeah, I think I'm pretty sure we're about to hand stamp 500 records.
Yeah.
Is what it is. I've done it before. I'll do it again.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's important that, like, especially in independent music, you want to really get that craft across, isn't it?
Mm.
Like, and
Yeah.
show that the levels of love that go into a record, and
Yeah, completely.
and that there's real care in the way it's presented.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And you can get so creative as well with it.
Yeah, exactly. And it, I'm still hands-on. It's like, we did a CD years ago for someone, and we put coffee beans in, in a jewel case.
Yeah.
You got the jewel case. We put coffee beans in the
Yeah.
spine.
Oh my God. Hold on. I've got Danny,
Yeah.
A.Kid, ready to come in. Hold on. Let me just log them on, and you can just finish your.
Okay. Exactly 1 hour late.
I think I must have got the times wrong. Hello. What's up?
Hello.
Hello.
Hear us. Hi.
What's happening?
Good. So so quickly gonna just introduce. Hi, Danny. Is it cool we call you Daddy? A.Kid.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good.
Also
It's
known
good
as
to see you
A.Kid.
guys.
How you doing?
Mark. I think I got the times wrong.
Oh, really?
You're tuning in from Melbourne. I'm in Copenhagen. Mark is in
Wales.
in Wales. So
Yeah.
we're all on different time zones, and we started maybe half an hour ago.
Oh, sorry.
No, we started late, but also, and then I was like, where is Danny? But yeah, welcome. You can still join the conversation. I think it's kind of cool.
Right.
Just a second, I'm going to introduce you properly in a minute. And then, but Mark was just saying about coffee beans and packaging.
Yes.
I want to just let you finish that bit.
Okay. Yeah. So years ago we did a CD, a jewel case, and in the spine of it we put actual coffee beans. The album was coffee related.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, so we put coffee beans in, and that was just, stripping down a CD, pulling the plastic apart, and then inserting those coffee beans was hell.
Just before I started at Brownswood, they'd just done a box set for Mala in Peru, and I think at least 100 of the box set had a bit of Palo Santo wood inside it. So that must have been a fun job as well, getting all the
I designed that, didn't I?
You did.
Yes.
You did.
That's another beautiful sleeves.
You've been around for a while, Brownswood. Right. So Mark, thank you so much for all the insights and stories and showing your bits. But please stick around while I talk to Danny for a bit. Is that cool?
My pleasure. Great. Yeah.
So, hi, Daddy. We just literally held up Sunny Side Up. Mark, have you still got it there? The Sunny Side Up sleeve. So now we've got in the Zoom, we've got the designer of the artwork and the designer of the actual product. So that's pretty cool.
That's really cool.
I guess I'm really curious about, like, obviously we went to, as Brownswood, went to Melbourne, recorded an incredible project. You're part of like that music scene there, and we asked you to design the sleeve, and I just wanted to like ask a bit of like the story behind it, of how you got to this visual and the inspiration.
Well, I was asked by, I think it was JJ who asked me, and a lot of the guys on the record are my friends or housemates. So like when we set out to make it, I guess I just wanted to make something that was like somewhat encompassing. I think you guys gave me the name Sunny Side Up, and that was kind of the brief. And I remember thinking, like, everyone thinks of Australia as like beaches and koalas, and while we have beaches and koalas, like I wanted it to show, I guess, like a different layer to that, maybe a darkness to it, or like, and yeah, it's like a flip off another record, Arcadia. It's like I don't know if you know the record, like soul jazz, like kind of like a holy grail kind of record, and the background is kind of like a motif from that. And I knew it was going to be on Brownswood, so all the diggers were going to kind of might pick up on that little flip of that. But yeah, it was super fun to design that record cover. And
Yeah.
I carved it from plywood. So I actually got this, I bought it today from the studio, but it was cut from this piece of timber, which is like,
Wow.
and then it ends up to this guy.
What? How many layers is that of printing? How many colors?
It's, I think, 3 or 4 colors. So all the colors are done like by hand. And then the wood carving goes on top, and it was the black part of it. So yeah, it took a while to figure out how to line those two up, the colors and the black. But yeah, it was, yeah, I was super into it. And then obviously working with you guys was the first time working, like, I guess with a proper record label. Most album covers were kind of, you know, stuff I'll be putting out with friends. So it felt a bit more like legit or official, which is really cool.
Yeah, no, it was, I mean, for us, I think it was really important to get an artist that was part of the community of the music that was recorded. We did the same for We Out Here, the album, where we got Gaurab Takali to design the sleeve, and or the sleeve artwork. And he'd also done like small projects for various of artists of the London jazz scene. So yeah, no, it's great to have you create that, and thank you for showing that. That's so dope. So do you, because you don't just do that, you also run Mandarin Dreams record label, and you're a bit of a collector yourself, as you can see behind you. So what?
Oh, it's all my favorite record cover. I went through it today. I was like, what are the most iconic record covers? And I just pulled out my favorite sort of iconic record covers. Yeah.
Nice. So do you draw inspiration from like the past? Where do you get your inspiration from?
Yeah, I guess it's similar to like the music we make with Mandarin Dreams. It's kind of like, you know, pockets of historical ties from the past. So like soul jazz records, you know, like Blue Note records, the way the type would work with the labels, that's always really like fascinated me. And yeah, and you know, very like small private pressings. I always love like artists who would design their own cover, like Sun Ra, and like that always appealed to me strongly. That really like sort of hands-on visual. So yeah, a lot of different influences from just digging as well, like records that I would pick up and just buy it because it looked really, you know, dope, and didn't know what the music was going to be like, but you know, it has just a gravity that pulls you in, and you buy it just on the visual side, and then ends up being really cool. So I've always like had that fascination between, I guess, the visual and the sonic. Yeah, and there's so much records, like it's crazy. You can never just keep digging. Yeah.
Mark, do you find yourself in record stores looking for inspiration?
Yeah. I still, you know, I bought a record the other week. I bought it online, but just because of the sleeve, it was just amazing. Mongtong, which was just fantastic. It just, you know, I bought it because it was a sleeve, and it's an incredible album, you know. So yeah, no, I've got vinyl. I'll try and turn that around. See, there you go. There's my mad collection. That's some clothes drying. So no, there's shelves everywhere of vinyl. It's like, yeah, I'm totally, yeah. I was a big fan of Mowax, you know, their sleeves.
Yeah.
Like just stunning work, and just had to buy a lot of that. Whether you listen, you know, you trusted that label as well, didn't you, at that time? You know, it was like, okay, it's going to be interesting. So yeah, still.
Yeah. I mean, I think, you know, as a band or even as a label, like visual identity is so important, right? And when you're on the designed end of that, you have such a big influence. And I think also with Mandarin Dreams, you create a lot of like almost objects that go with the release. So like, I think I've got a 7-inch that also had like a screen print.
Oh, it's this guy here.
Here. Yeah.
Yeah. It was like a washi paper, kind of folds down to a little poster guy. But yeah, we made like 150. But like I had to press it at home because at the time I didn't have a press. So I was like literally just like rubbing it with a spoon. It was like 3 days to print 150 record sleeves, and I just was like, yeah, I can do it, and I really like lost my mind. It was a cool experience, like having to press that many, and like it gave me a real appreciation for the fact that, you know, these are collectible things and people can hold on to it, not just for the music, but just for, you know, it's a product, it's a package, it like connects into the music. And yeah, if you're gonna make vinyl, you might well make it last and something to hold on to.
Yeah, no, totally. I think Mike was just talking about it just before you jumped on. The blood, sweat, and laughs and love that goes into it. And I think on the other end, as like, you know, a music lover and a buyer of, you know, a collector of vinyl and CDs, and I guess any kind of music format, that has such a big impact on how you're experiencing it as well. Sure. So big ups to both of you on that level for well, like, yeah, putting that in there, because you feel it, you know, as a consumer of music, you feel that love. And I think that's also why artists come back to designers, because they can see how important it is once that's done really well.
Yeah.
Cool. Just want to check, Mark, because I've had you for quite a while, if you wanted to dip out, or if you're cool to hang around still, because I was going to ask.
It's cool to hang around. It's up to you.
Amazing. Yep. No, totally. So I was just going to ask Danny. I just was curious about like the future. I'm always interested in if you had like, you know, as things are turning more digital and you're actually working quite like, you know, yeah, object and
tangibility.
Yeah. But how do you see how that will grow in a way? Do you think it will grow together, or is it going to become really separate?
Yeah, well, one thing we've been trying at Mandarin Dreams for many years now is trying to find that happy medium. You know, we're all like record lovers, but you know, after the last few years, I've come to realize that there are limitations to vinyl for an independent artist. You know, there's the financial, and then there's also the time weight, and there's also the, I guess, the sustainability of creating these, you know, carbon products, and you have to balance all these things out. And I do feel like there's something really special about packaging and the tangibility. And I wonder if that can move away from the actual vinyl, and if it's just a physical, and what that could mean with digital. And I guess it's like no one really knows. Hey, like it's all about, I guess, experimenting at this point and seeing what formats work. And like, you know, there should be no reason why a record should cost between like $30 to $50. Like, if you package it in a way, you're buying an experience. And I think people want to support the artist. And yeah, you just got to give them options to, I guess, support. Yeah, so I think this experimenting with what, you know, digital and physical offer, and finding that medium. And now with the whole COVID thing, it's even like venues, how do we, you know, put on shows? You can't put on shows what they once were. So like finding this middle ground of, you know, the digital realm, but also, you know, you can't take away the physical, you know, human connection through vibration. So yeah, I definitely think it's a middle ground, and getting best from both worlds, and not being too purist about, yeah, being too purist in the format.
Yes, maybe that's the future, not being too purist on the format. Out with the purists.
But I mean, record labels, I mean, I remember when we were like, you know, putting record music out, and like people would take you seriously if you had it on vinyl, you know, like record shops. If you show up with a vinyl, it's like, okay, they'll take you more seriously. And, you know, I understand why that is, but it also is a bit of a barrier for people who can't afford to press their stuff onto vinyl, or, you know, can't wait 3 months to get it to a plant to get it shipped and all of that. So,
and also,
yeah.
I think for a generation that is a new generation is desperately trying to save the planet, creating more physical objects just to sell is, yeah, it's potentially a thing of the past, which I personally find quite interesting, because, you know, as a designer and maker, like I'm a manufacturer of products, it's like you want to be really sure that it's worth making. And not just to sell and get people to consume, but really creating something that is worth keeping, and that's sustainable. But yeah, also being conscious about not just producing stuff.
For sure. And
I'm a
music,
massive collector of stuff, but
yeah.
you know, books and records. But you know, there is a consciousness that needs to, I guess, needs to happen. And yeah, again, not to throw out any physical objects, but definitely being more precious about them, I reckon.
Yeah,
isn't
definitely.
it?
Yeah, I think it's happening with music as far as like, you know, there's a point where right now where music has become commodified, you know, like it's about, you know, getting out globally as far as possible, putting your Spotify and get on the playlists. But in the end of the day, music is not a commodity that can be traded like that. It is culture, it is, you know, human experiences. And I think, yeah, I think we have to move back to really appreciating music for not this like commodity that can be traded purely on its monetary value. And yeah, and the craftsmanship behind something, you know, if like, you know, people working with their hands, even from the music making point of view, like seeing that within my friends now, like playing all the instruments, or like just getting their hands on, you know, getting away from the computer and like playing with one another, seeing that analog world. You want to like translate that into a physical product, you know?
Yeah. Cool. I'm not sure how we are for time on this Zoom, but I've got one more question, which might lead to hours of conversation and debate. But for both of you, you can decide who answers first. But in like a couple of sentences, what makes a great record sleeve, in your opinion? Mark.
Was hoping A.Kid was going to go first, and I'll just copy him. Yeah. What makes a great sleeve? I don't. It's. I don't know. There's some great sleeves, but not so great music, and it's the same, isn't it? It's like when you look at those, that like you always get those classic album covers, but then some of those covers aren't like, oh, you know, classic albums, and people go on about the covers, and then some of those covers aren't so great. It's the album that's great. Do you know what I mean? It's like if you listen to like Nirvana, Neverminds, it's like you think of the baby, don't you? You know, and it's the two things come together. But then that's become a great sleeve. Now, if that album had flopped, you wouldn't think about that image. So it's I don't know. It's a balance, isn't it, of what is a great sleeve, and I'm not answering it very well, I'm afraid.
No, it was a mean question.
I don't, you know, I as I said earlier, I'll buy a record because of the sleeve, you know. But then it also, I won't buy a record if you don't like that sleeve. It's like I can throw you, can't it?
I guess it's really personal.
Yeah.
Well, but there is some things that work, in my opinion. But I thought I'd let you guys. Danny, do you want to say? Do you want to?
Yeah, I kind of yeah. It's one of those things, they go hand in hand, and like some iconic albums, you can't imagine it. You know, once you see the album, the music, you can't imagine them separate. They become this one thing, and I feel like a lot of artists have this one record that will always represent them, whether it's, you know, in the sonic and the also physical. I just was going through my record covers before, and you know, these ones are classic. You know, when you see Grace Jones, you think of this album cover. You know, when you sing of Curtis Mayfield, you think of, you know, and they're probably not their best records, maybe not. Like, they're just so iconic that you can't, you know, separate the artist to the what it was, you know.
Okay,
And
but then like take for instance the Curtis Mayfield, right? What, like, let's like what makes it good? Is it the angle? Is it the colors? Is it like, what is intriguing about it? If it's not necessarily their best album, right?
yeah, for me, it's just like, I mean, as a silhouette, as a color thing, it's so powerful. You know, I mean, it does have a lot of these big hits like Move On Up, but
Yeah.
I think it's just it's the visual, and when an album does come out, it has a cultural impact that it's like, it will always remain. So a lot of these albums, when they did come out, like, you know, it had a cultural significance, and it makes it, you know, rememberable. But yeah, it's a hard question.
Is a really hard question. I mean, this is kind of literally what I think about, or try and like crack. But I reckon, I mean, it's definitely the, you know, the music and the art, when they are both amazing, that's when you have the magic, right?
Yeah.
But you can also have magic when the record's just really, really great and the sleeve is maybe not that memorable. But I think what I personally always strive for is, and we spoke a bit about this earlier, Mark, is like really extending, because I think it, like you said as well, it's like it starts with the music, really. And the design shouldn't overtake that, because then you might get fooled, because you're like, wow, this record looks amazing, and then you hear it and you're like, that's kind of, you know, although I have bought records that I'm just, the sleeve is so dope, but the music's okay. But that's just because I'm like a visual person and I'm into that stuff. But people, they might not visual and just want good music. So but I think when you hear a great record and you pull the sleeve back and you look at it and you're like, this is the visual translation of this record.
Yeah.
Right? And I guess that's going back to the Curtis cover, Move On Up is on there. And you see him up high, he looks glorious, basking in the sun. It's like, yes, he is moving on up. That is the visual representation. And when that comes together, you're like, okay, we've got magic, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know, that I didn't actually think of this answer before and like put you on the spot and be like, well, you know, guys.
Yeah.
Just coming to my head. But
sorry, okay.
No, go for it.
No, I've had to, like, when I was working with like Universal, and you know, you get to meet a band, like a new band who've just been signed, and they go, can we have an iconic sleeve? We want an iconic sleeve. And I'm like, have you made an iconic album? How does that become you know, you cannot make an iconic sleeve. It's the album itself becomes iconic as well. It's the two that,
well, it doesn't become iconic unless the music and the artwork together.
And you can't you can't create an iconic sleeve. That happens over time.
Yeah.
So it's an impossible sort of, you know, how do you achieve it? You know, it's like, you know, Andy Warhol's Banana, you know, it's, no one bought that record, but it's you know, at the time, you know, it's a famous thing, isn't it? That, you know, very few people bought that record, but it's one of the most iconic sleeves again, you know? So.
Yeah, good example.
But if I presented a band with a banana, it'd be like, what? I don't know if they, you know, but then it's time, isn't it? You know?
Yeah.
It's the music and the time.
Yeah, and it's being connected and tapped in. And I think that's also what you were saying, Danny, like when you inform your art and, you know, the creative process, and you take social and cultural and political factors, you know, that is going on around you. Do you think that like informs as well your art, or like?
Sure. I think what's happening in the times can make an album iconic just because of the topics they're addressing, or, you know, just one of those zeitgeist moments where just like something, you know, really encapsulates a record of its time. But and sometimes it's not always the music that, you know, it's a multitude of different things. I was just thinking really at, you know, Bitches Brew, Miles Davis's album. It's a beautiful album cover, but for me, that it's one of the toughest, like, you know, jarring records of his, maybe perfectly so. But the album is so accessible, like the cover of it. And I think just when it was released at that time, what was happening, it sort of combinated, you know, you can't separate the music and the album cover all the times. It's all that the same momentum.
Yeah, totally. I think we're gonna wrap it up. I've got one more question for you, Danny. I asked Mark earlier, for any people starting in design or graphic design, specifically for music, any advice you want to give, or to get them going or get them started?
Hit up your favorite artists. Like, hit them up on Instagram, Facebook, and be like, yo, I'm a designer. Do you want me to like work with you? Like, and you'd be surprised how many people will get back to you, because it's one of those factors. A lot of independent artists don't have the money for the artwork. So just get your name out there, hit people up that you might think, you know, wouldn't get back to you, but they might do. Also, just go to gigs, and if you like a band, approach them and see if they would have your art on their album covers. But yeah, just hit people up, connect with people. This day and age, people are looking for collaborators, and that's how I learned, just from like putting music out with my friends, and that process of like, talking to them what they want, and designing around their vision.
Excellent.
That was a much better answer than mine.
But
yeah, you're right. Exactly. Just contact people. If you don't ask, you don't get. And, just do what, if you're passionate about it, let people know. Yeah.
Excellent. All right. I think we're going to wrap it up. I hope that was a lot of fun for everybody tuned in at the Out Here Festival online. Unfortunately, we're not in a field. But and thank you so much, Mike James and A.Kid.
Thank you, Ruby.
Are doing great work, and keep it up. And thank you for tuning in and joining.
Right on.
Thank you.